Hi, I'm Paul Johnston and welcome to Two Wheels, and on this week's show Jeff takes a ride on Ducati's latest S4 Monster. It's got a 996 engine, so it's guaranteed to be lots of fun. Later, Wayne travels to the Midlands, in fact to Coventry to the Dirt Bike Show, where there's everything for the off-road enthusiast. And later, I'll meet up with South Yorkshire Police motorcyclist Chris Pulfrey to see how he enjoys riding his bike through the winter.
Now, I bet you think it's a glamorous life being a road tester, don't you? Well, it is up to a point, but you can't control the weather. Like today when we got snow all over the place. And look what I've got to road test. Ducati's S4 Monster. I'll tell you what, I wish it was a fire-breathing monster, and then I could warm my hands a bit.
On the road, though, it's a different matter. Ducati really started something when they created the Monster back in 1993. Since then, they've produced 100,000 of them from the starter 600 to the 900. Now they've done an update, and the S4 is it.
Now, it might look like any old Monster, but that's where you'd be wrong, because this one is very much a stripped-down ST4, just like the one that I road tested the other week. The engine is the 916 engine, of course, liquid-cooled, overhead cam. You can see the cam covers here, as against the old 900, which was an air-cooled lump. The only thing with this engine, it hasn't been designed to be in a naked bike. It was normally covered either on the 916 or ST4 by lots of plastic. Look at it, you've got bits and pieces all over it, bits of cables, pipes, God knows what else, coolant reservoir, ignition system. You can see the whole lot on this. It looks a bit untidy, a little bit scrappy.
The frame looks familiar because that too is from the ST4. It's Ducati's tried and tested steel-tube trellis design with some added carbon covers. The riding position itself is so different that they feel very different bikes. You'll tip slightly forward and feel very much in the bike, not on it. The engine is also tried and tested. It's the 916 Desmo Quattro liquid-cooled motor producing around 107 brake at 9,500 revs. That trademark Ducati sound is there to play with, snicking through the 6-speed box and rolling it off to use that V-twin engine braking to the full. Suspension-wise, it's got a new Sachs rear shock with a longer swinging arm. Up front, it's got upside-down front forks, running 5-spoke Marcassini wheels lifted straight from the 996. By its nature, although it'll top 140, it's not a high-speed blaster. You really do have to hang on at anything over 90 miles an hour. It'll pull well from around 2,000 revs right through to 9 grand, but playing tunes with the engine is what this is all about. Brakes are courtesy of Brembo, with a pair of 320mm discs and 4-pot calipers up front. The front brake lever is adjustable for span, and both brakes give you just the right amount of feel. The whole bike feels very compact and at 192 kilos, very trim and purposeful. But it's through the bends that you have your fun. It puts you totally in control and you're able to chuck it into bends at will. Not on an icy road, of course, that's just asking for trouble. Stripped of plastic civilization, the Monster really puts you in touch with biking basics. No doubt about it, this is an attitude bike, a bike to have fun on, and no frills performance machine. Price-wise, at $7,700, it's very competitively priced against the Phaser Thou, Kajiba's Raptor and Triumph Speed Triple.
So does this Monster make it, or does it belong in the Ice Age? Well, I have to admit, I like Ducatis anyway, and this one certainly keeps it up with the rest of the pack.
Very often people say to us, how can I get in touch with you guys at Two Wheels? I've got something you need to know about. It might be something bad, it might be something good, somebody deserves a pat on the back, or it might be something that you think we should feature on the show. Well, now it's dead simple, and this is how you do it. You can write to us at this address over here, Two Wheels, Men and Motors, Granada TV, Key Street, Manchester M60 9EA. Or you can email us at this address. It's twowheels@granadamedia.com. If it's two-wheel related, then we want to know all about it.
So where am I this week, you might be asking yourself? Well, actually we've come to another show, another exhibition. A dirt bike show. Well, I know we've visited a few, but hey, it's rude not to, isn't it? And this one's always pretty good anyway. There's always definitely interesting things to see. Oh well, this is rather nice, isn't it? Rather posh, flipping carpeted floor. In fact, it's lovely and warm in here as well. So, let's have a little look round. I must admit, ordinarily you'd expect a dirt bike show to be a bit scruffy and untidy around the edges, but not in this case. It's rather nice with a carpeted floor, nice working environment, nice place for you to come and see, because not all dirt bike riders are scruffy, you know. In fact, they clean up nicely during the week. Now this is a motocross machine, and the thing about a motocross machine is the height of the flipping things. Look at that seat height there. And people such as myself who are vertically challenged, we do struggle getting our leg over. Excuse me, madam. And it's because of the seat height, but it's needed to be high. They've got very, very high ground clearance, they've got a whole load of suspension movement, and the reason for that is simply because they're going over big hills, big mounds, great big jumps, because it's a bike like this that you would see in an outdoor motocross meeting and indeed in indoor supercross. It's a proper motocross competition machine. Now this happens to be the 250 version. It's a Honda CR250R. And they have a beam frame, a big aluminium frame here. And it's quite an unusual thing in the world of motocross, because up until recently, Honda being the pioneer in this respect, they always had tubular framework. So Honda did it on the 250 a number of years ago. Since then, they've decided to go the whole hog and do it on a range. So now you can buy the 125cc version, and indeed you can buy a brand new one, a 454 stroke that they've introduced especially for this year. And this is the big one. This is the CRF 450. And the difference is, as I said, it's the type of engine, because on the 125 and on the 250 they're 2 strokes, but on this one it's a 4-stroke engine. And those of you who are into off-road riding or 2 strokes, 4-stroke indifference will notice the exhaust, for example. Ordinarily it would be a great big expansion chamber, but this is a nice, neat, tidy bit of tubing. The only main difference really between the overall appearance of this bike is the engine. Obviously that'll make a big difference to the riding characteristics, because although this bike is only a few kilograms heavier, it's an awful lot more bottom end torque, so it will be much more traction involved in the way the engine delivers the power. And I should imagine quite an easy bike to ride, although still quite tall. I probably still have a little problem getting my leg over. There is a big difference, however, and that is in the money, because the 250 version will cost you just under £4,000, whereas this one will cost you 5,000 quid. So that Honda that I've just been looking at is entirely different to this thing, because that's a motocross machine. These are trials bikes. This is a gas, the latest 2002 model. Quite a lot of improvements and very big changes that have occurred. And because there has been a quiet season, you might say, during 2001 due to the foot and mouth problem. But that problem has been overcome now, and during 2002 I should imagine everybody will be dusting the cobwebs off their old machines, or even investing in something nice and new like this. But it's not only just trials bike that they've decided to do from now on, they're doing all sorts of other machines. They do little 50cc trail bikes, they do 125s, they do something like this which is a 200, and they do bigger. I've ridden one of these recently with a man called Wayne Braybrook, and it was an awesome bit of kit. Very, very easy to use, easy to handle. You could throw it around, dead light, and loads of fun. This will cost you just like £3,800, which is quite a lot of money, but when you think about it, it's a half road, a half off-road, an awful lot of fun to be had, a versatile piece of equipment. It's not the only thing they produce neither. Oh no, because they've gone and introduced this baby over here. Look at this. This is a Supermoto. This particular one is a 125 2-stroke machine. They call it the SM125. It's black and it's mean. It's got 17-inch rims there, with all the fancy brakes that you need on Supermoto. Nice chrome exhaust. It looks the business, doesn't it? This will cost you £3,796, including VAT. A couple of quid extra to stick it on the road, but I reckon you could have some serious fun on this. Just think how light and easy it will be to ride. So we've mentioned motocross machines and things, and there's one my size. This is a nice little 85cc Yamaha. And Yamaha have been sort of at the top for years in the motocross world, just like Suzuki and Honda, and now an awful lot of the European guys are taking place with your KTM, TM, flipping loads of them. But one thing that has always attracted me is something like this, which is a little different in respect that it's got 4 wheels. but it's still a motorbike, and there's an awful lot of fun to be gained with something like this. Now there's some real diddy ones for the kids out there. They even do a 125 now, automatic, with an adjustable throttle. And what I mean by an adjustable throttle is you can set it so it only goes so quick. But something like this has got to be a serious mean machine. This is a 660cc four-stroke machine. Oh, but luckily, this also has got an adjustable throttle. So obviously someone like me could be kept under control. Now, as well as all the fancy 2002 machines and all the new products that have been introduced for the year, there's always, like at every motorcycle show, loads of clothing and accessory stalls. You can find absolutely everything at a show like this, usually at the very right price as well. So I'm going to leave you to have a little look round, see if you can find something that suits you. Meanwhile, this vessel is empty. I feel the need to have it filled up. Do excuse me.
Well, there'll be more from Wayne at the Coventry Dirt Bike Show after the break. Also, still to come, I chat with police biker Chris Pulfrey to see how he enjoys winter riding. Welcome back to Two Wheels. Time now to rejoin Wayne in Coventry.
Now, at every bike show that we ever visit, there's always the stunt riders. And nearly every bike show there's Jason Finn. I think there's 18 Jason Finn, because he's at every different one, sometimes at the same time. He is actually very, very popular because he's the master of this. Just take a look. Well, we've had Jason Finn, a trials rider, doing stunts. We've had Terry Grant in his car. That's four wheels, but with an engine out of a motorcycle in his car. But you can't come to an off-road show without seeing some freestyle motocross riding with the master himself, Jamie Squibb. Now, you've probably noticed that we haven't really done much in the way of bits and pieces and clothing, but then again, we've brought you all that in the past. But there were so many lovely shiny machines to show you, we thought we'd just stick to the old bikes. Why not? And you road bike riders out there, you want to get down to these off-road shows because there's an awful lot of interesting things to see and some lovely people to meet, and they're very, very chatty. In fact, look at this fella here. You all right, mate? What's your name then? Eh? You haven't got a lot to say for yourself, have you? I did tell you, didn't I? There's some beautiful models to be seen.
Continuing our theme of chatting with people who have no choice but to ride their bikes through the winter, recently I met up with a good friend of Two Wheels, South Yorkshire Police motorcyclist Chris Pulfrey. So Chris, you have no choice but to get up every morning and go and ride your bike. You must lie in bed some mornings thinking, no, I can't be bothered doing this, particularly this time of year.
Yeah, every day between December and March, I think.
Is it that bad? Yeah.
Can be.
But you don't have a choice, do you? All weather. Is there anything that would stop you riding as a police officer?
I think we lose maybe 10 days a year, and it's usually, obviously, snow is
Yeah.
a bit of a minus for us. But high winds as well do cause problems.
No, of course they do, yeah. Especially on a bike that's
Yeah,
fully
'cause,
faired.
yeah, it tends to trap the wind behind the fairing, so that can be quite dangerous.
So riding in the winter, the gear, you're all geared up today as we all are because it's freezing. So do you wear different kit in winter to the summer?
Yeah, we're very fortunate actually in South Yorkshire. They do look after us kit-wise. Going back to when I started on the bike wing, it was ordinary tunics and, would you believe, horse riding jodhpurs.
Was it really?
But we've progressed a little bit
Didn't
since
have the
then.
boots as well, did you?
Probably cavalry boots.
And
Yeah,
spurs.
you guessed it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, the old radios on the back of the bike
Oh,
and that
blimey.
kind of thing. No, we get very, very good kit. I mean, for instance, we're trialling this new Gore-Tex type stuff
Right.
instead of leathers, which obviously winter's fantastic. The
Yeah.
full zip out line
Right.
keeps you nice and warm. I've been wearing this for about 4 months and it's kept me totally warm and dry.
Give me some winter riding tips.
No heroics.
Good. Yeah, I'll go with that, yeah.
It's basically giving yourself time and keeping the ride smooth. So if you're on routine patrol, it's not much of a problem. You can take your time, you're listening to the radio, looking for things going off, making your way to a check site, something like that. You can ride nice and steady. If you're going to a job, obviously you're going to up the pace a little bit, but you've got to again keep it nice and smooth. And to do that, really, you've just got to enhance the observations. Look well in front, give yourself plenty of time to react, and obviously keep a close eye on the road surface.
Right. We're not in Yorkshire now. We're not in Sheffield.
No, we're slightly away from Sheffield.
We're in deepest, darkest, coldest Lancashire.
Wrong side of the hills, yeah.
Wrong side of the hills for you, yeah. So what are you doing? Are you on a bit of a jolly, or are you actually working
You
today?
can term it as a jolly. No, it's purely business. We've come to see CCM.
Right.
They're backing us at an event we're running in July at the Sheffield Arena called Bike Safe 2002.
That's been going a few years, Bike Safe, hasn't it?
Yeah, started in 1990 in Sheffield, and it's evolved into a nationwide scheme now, which is great. It's all about promoting motorcycling safely but excitingly.
Right.
So we're going to have some supermoto demonstration, other factory riders there.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a demonstrator fleet on for people to come and have a bit of a play on a supermoto and on a road legal bike as well.
Excellent.
Now, Jeff, Paul and myself are often getting people coming up to us and hitting us in the face. No, that's not true. No, coming up to us at bike meetings, at bike clubs, or indeed bike shows, and voicing their opinions. And of course, people write into us and also send us emails. And the opinions are usually very, very similar. They're nearly always about noisy exhausts and black visors. Well, the truth of the matter is, they are illegal. We don't set the rules, that is the case. But there are way around it, often way around it, and often not a particularly expensive way around it as well. So, for example, you can't have one of those on your helmet. It's not allowed. It's a black visor. It's illegal. You can't have one of those either. That's illegal because they let insufficient light through the visor in the daylight or indeed at night. So, what are the options? Well, you leave your clear visor on your helmet and you put something else on it instead. What you do is you consider putting these on. These are like a little coating that goes on the inside, and you can remove them and put them back on again, do them a few times. They come in packages of 2, they're only a tenner. You can get gold and multicoloured or just a regular dark tint. The next option, possibly, is to have one of these. This is like a double glazing coating that goes on the inside, and these are often done in different colours, dark ones and so on. And they're an option. That's £10. There are different brands. Fog City is another brand that's been out a long, long time. Pinlock, there's another one. They cost a little bit more money, but they're very, very well made, and they last the duration of a winter. They're anti-mist, and as I say, if you get one with a bit of a tint in it, that helps with the sunlight when it's very low in the spring and in the autumn. There's another way around it. You can do something very, very trendy, very stylish. That looks like a regular tint, but it's hologramic. And when you get it in the right direction and you look at it through your visor, you just get a tint. But when somebody looks at you and sees the helmet from the front, that's the policeman or the traffic warden, whoever, they only see pictures, fancy pictures. Look at this one, tiger type pictures. This one is like bullet holes, shattered glass. This one is a nasty set of eyes. And they cost you around 20 quid. So there are other options. But the real way around it is very, very simple. Treat yourself to a different helmet. A helmet such as this one. Now there are many lift up front helmets available from different brands. Now you've seen helmets like this before. In fact, I've wore a few different types, different brands. VMAR, they produce one like this. There's K-Berg, there's MDS. In fact, there's flaming loads of them. And this particular one is a laser, but it's a little bit different. The different thing about this one is it's got a built-in black visor. Underneath the usual lift-up piece like that, here is a black visor. It's on the inside, and then when you don't require it, you lift it back up again. It's a great idea. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, I've already invested in a very nice crash helmet, thank you very much. I don't want to buy a new one. Well, think about it. If you can't see where you're flaming well going in spring and autumn because the sunlight is very, very low and very, very bright, and you actually hit something because you didn't see it, and test that fancy new crash helmet you've just bought, you'd be very grateful if you'd bought this one. You wouldn't have had the incident in the first place. Safety first, of course. So there is way round the legalities of a black visor. Adding some of these coatings, the hologram ones, which are a bit trendy, the simple black ones, which you can take on and off, or one of these, which will cost you around 200 quid. I wonder whether this is my size. Oh, it is. Be rude not to, wouldn't it?
If you'd like to find out more about Two Wheels and the people who are involved with it, then you can by logging on to our website. You could even join in with our bike forum. And here is the address. It's www.menandmotors.co.uk. Well, that's it from Two Wheels for this week, but you might be wondering what this is doing here. Well, it's Honda's new 900cc Hornet, and it's got a Fireblade engine in it, and I'll tell you all about it on next week's show. Also next week, Wayne's off on his travels once again. This time he's in Sheffield at the indoor arena trials, where the standard of riding seems to get more and more impressive every year.